Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry pressed Director Cheadle yesterday. Watch this. Roll it.
Were aerial assets requested for this event from either the Secret Service or state police or anybody else, drone, manned, otherwise? Aerial assets, were they requested?
I can tell you that the assets that were requested from the Secret Service for the site that day were all granted.
I didn't ask if you used them or what you used. Were they requested?
Overwatch was requested and
aerial.
was provided.
Is that aerial? Because Overwatch could mean on the water tower or not on the water tower. Can you be specific, ma'am? I'm running out of daylight here.
Okay. Congressman Perry joins me now. Congressman, in my opinion, Director Cheadle will either resign or be fired fairly soon. But after that, what reforms at the Secret Service do you want to see put in place?
Well, it's good morning, Stuart, and it's apparent to me, and I think it's apparent to America, that revolutionary change needs to happen at this law enforcement agency. Obviously, it's rotted at the top. We don't know how far it goes, how deep it goes, but they have lost focus of what their mission is. It's apparent that they are not focused on protecting the principal. They're not focused on securing the site before or after an incident. And they're certainly not focused on protecting those who have the expectation of safety when they go to one of these events.
So, Congressman, if I can interrupt for a second, what are they focused on?
Apparently, they're focused on making sure their friends have jobs in what appears to be highly sought-after agencies, including in the Secret Service. That's what it appears to me. When I asked the question about how they hire based on capabilities, the president is a tall guy. He's a big guy. And somebody needs to be able, if they're going to cover the president and move the president, to be physically capable of doing that. She didn't have any good answers for that either. So here again, it goes to what the core mission of the organization is and just fulfilling those requirements.
Why won't Biden fire Cheadle?
Well, I'm not sure President Biden, I don't know where President Biden is. None of us know where he is. And so we don't even know why he can't make a press conference saying that he's not going to seek the nomination or accept the nomination that he's been given by his party. We don't know anything about his whereabouts, let alone what he thinks about Director Cheadle.
So why hasn't Jill Biden fired Cheadle? I'm being facetious, I know, but somebody's running this government, and if it's not Joe Biden, who do you think it is?
Well, that's exactly right. Somebody has been running this government for 3.5 years, and we're not sure. We're fairly certain we know who it isn't, but we don't know, and we can't put our finger on who it is. And now the Democrat Party wishes to continue the charade with this coronation and disregard the votes of millions of Americans to select their nominee and just install their person with no track record of success, almost no track record of work.
Okay. A New York Times poll showed Trump holding a 1-point lead over Harris in your home state, Pennsylvania. But that poll was taken before the assassination attempt. Fast forward to the present. Where do you think Harris stands in Pennsylvania now?
I think that the more people, unfortunately, there's probably a lot of people in Pennsylvania across the country that don't even know who Kamala Harris is. And when they learn about her misgivings, I think that poll's going to widen. Like I said, she's been given one job by the administration. She's failed. She hasn't done the job. She's failed at that job. And no one else knows what she does except for internationally creating word salad that embarrasses most Americans when they see it on the television at night. So they don't know what she's accomplished or why she should be president. She couldn't win her own party's primary, not one of them, when she ran for president, including in her own state. And if she can't win the state of California as a Democrat and a top Democrat, a senator, how do you think she's going to win Pennsylvania or any other state?
Fair question. Scott Perry from the state of Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.